What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, the entirety of the MCU fanbase has been bracing for quote-unquote meaningful deaths in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Deaths that presumably won't be undone the way they were done from Infinity War and Avengers Endgame with a snap, and most likely will be served up to those characters which have been in the MCU the longest. Well, yesterday, Chris Hemsworth posted this exact video that Marvel released as a tribute to the character back when they released Thor, Love and Thunder. He posted this to his YouTube and then a heartfelt thank you to the MCU fanbase that surely made it sound like he was saying goodbye and that Thor was going to die in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday. We have that thank you. We're going to read through it. I'm going to point out some very small details that seem to confirm this and talk about it in context of some previous leaks we had heard. We're breaking it all down. Thor dying in Avengers Doomsday and Chris Hemsworth saying goodbye to the role. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do if you're into that kind of thing. Thanks to everyone who's been subscribing lately and helped grow the community. And if you haven't already, I would just kindly invite you to do so. It's the #1 thing you can do to support us here at the channel. Plus, it'll enter you for the PS5 giveaways if you want. Stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this is what Chris Hemsworth officially posted. Playing Thor has been one of the greatest honors of my life. For the last 15 years, I've held Mjolnir and then Stormbreaker as the God of Thunder, but what made it truly special was sharing it with all of you. Your passion, your cheers, and your love for this character have meant everything to me. Thank you for making my journey through the Marvel Cinematic Universe unforgettable. Next up, Doomsday. Now, if you're like me and want to focus on the optimism of the words next up Avengers Doomsday, you can, but there's one small detail in here that sort of confirms that Chris Hemsworth is leaving the role and Thor is going to die. The entirety of the message is in past tense. Playing Thor has been. For the last 15 years, I've held past tense, but what made it truly special was sharing it with all of you, past tense. Have meant everything to me, again, past tense. As in, the time with this character is done and he's remembering it in this heartfelt thank you and goodbye. Plus, you wouldn't post a thank you like that to the MCU fanbase unless your time was coming to the end, and pretty much everybody saw it. Everyone who read this knew exactly what it meant. We've seen enough actors and athletes retire from major lifelong roles, and it all feels the same way when they say goodbye. It feels like this message. Now, I mentioned in the prologue that this isn't the first we've actually heard of this. Credit where credit's due to Lizzie Hill and Alex Perez over at the Cosmic Circus. Just months ago, they posted this update, quote, Lizzie Hill, from what I've heard, Thor will reunite with Loki at some point during these films, and he'll essentially be one of the last OG Avengers remaining. Our friend Alex Perez did hear a rumor that Marvel wanted to give Chris Hemsworth Thor a proper send-off in these movies in an epic way, with sources pointing to New Avengers Volume 332 as inspiration. Although it could be the end of Chris Hemsworth's Thor at the very moment, that doesn't exclude the possibility of the character's return, as he has also been told that the Thor core, as well as other parts of Thor's mythology from the comics, will be adapted for Secret Wars and beyond. So, taking that update for what it is, and now that Chris Hemsworth has posted this what seems like meaningful goodbye to the character, one leads to the other, thinking that this death is taking place during Avengers Doomsday, and because from that quote they say it doesn't preclude seeing him in Secret Wars and beyond, possibly a Thor 5. Now, in that Avengers issue, Thor and Hyperion realize it's basically the end. Thor tells Hyperion, I'll race you to Valhalla. They throw themselves at the Beyonders and die. But what I will also mention is that on the cover of that comic, Thor is wearing something very similar to what people have said he's been spotted on set wearing a red cloak and wielding axes. Now, the thing about death in Valhalla is that it's not permanent, not just in the sense of, well, in the Marvel comics, no one truly dies, but in the sense of Valhalla. We know that the mighty Thor Jane Foster has already gone to Valhalla. That's where she is right now with Heimdall. But in the comics, she returns as a Valkyrie from Valhalla, a place she can come back from. So Thor racing to Valhalla and during Avengers Doomsday does not preclude him from showing up in Avengers Secret Wars. And yes, it may feel a little weird for him to have this quote-unquote retirement send-off goodbye, die in Avengers Doomsday, and then see him in the very next Avengers film, but an appearance there doesn't mean that the character is back from good. This really feels like Chris Hemsworth knows that his time as Thor is coming to an end, that he's retiring from the role, and that's what prompted him to say this goodbye in the first place. Now, the other big question mark that this obviously leaves is, what does this mean for Thor 5? One of those movies, along with Doctor Strange 3, that has been talked about and rumored for Phase 6 and beyond, but hasn't actually come to fruition. We've heard so much about this in the last 2 years, and not just from anonymous Twitter scoopsters and industry insiders, but also the Hollywood trades, that Marvel Studios had put Thor 5 into development, that they were looking at multiple storylines, and that there were even some directors on their radar, that Marvel and Chris Hemsworth were interested in helming the project. But I think that we can clearly sort of see that Thor 5 is not going to happen. Coming back in Avengers Secret Wars as part of the Thor Corps, or returning with Jane Foster from Valhalla for that final battle, sure. But Thor 5, that's a whole nother movie in his franchise, and regardless of the industry insider updates, it always comes down to what the studios want to do, what the actor wants to do, and then more importantly, what's left on their contract. And you could see how if they were working on, say, an extension for a couple of Avengers films, or if his contract was coming to an end, it just might be time for Chris Hemsworth himself to say, hey, look, I've been playing Thor for almost 20 years, I want to move on now, and what better place and time to give him the proper send-off than Doomsday or Secret Wars, have his death truly mean something in the canon, in the lore of the MCU. And I think that's basically the logic we've been working off the whole time. Any character that's been around since the beginning, an OG Avenger like Clint Barton, or in this case Thor, or actors that joined during maybe say midway through the Infinity Saga but have still been there for all of it, something like maybe Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, or specifically Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, who personally I have as number one in the Deadpool for not making it out of these two films alive. You know, as fans, we always want to have our cake and eat it too. In terms of quality over quantity, we were calling for a major QC change at Marvel and then got upset they were canceling a bunch of projects. When it comes to meaningful stakes for these plots in these films, deaths are the one way to do that, but we don't want to lose our favorite characters, and I hate the idea of Chris Hemsworth not playing Thor for basically ever in the future of the MCU. But again, for someone who's going to Valhalla, death isn't necessarily the end. He could show up even in the further future of the MCU as, say, in an Odin role as the Allfather. Regardless, that may be something for way down the road, you know, when someone wants to come out of retirement, like Robert Downey Jr. just did, walking away from the MCU for 5 or 6 years and then saying, hey, you know what, I'll come back. But not something that would happen anytime soon. I think we can surely stick a pin in Thor 5. And look, guys, this is the off-ramp we thought it would be. We're here. It sucks, but nothing lasts forever. Gemini, you know? Some of you will get that, some of you won't, and that's okay. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. Are you upset? I kind of am. And do you think this means what everybody else took it to mean, and that Thor is not going to survive Avengers Doomsday? I'm all ears as always. Quickly, grab that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That automatically enters you for our PS5 giveaways, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Also, quick side note for those of you who have been supporting my other endeavors, including my music, I actually had a song that I released back in 2023, 2 years ago, that has started to go mega viral on Spotify. If you want to help support, the best thing to do if you have Spotify is to go ahead and click the link down in the description and the comments and give it another spin, because when the algorithm has you, the more juice you give it, the further it'll go. And because it's going viral right now, any other clicks that add to it from you guys would mean a lot, and I would sincerely appreciate it. It's all about timing and motion in the music industry, and it seems like I may have caught some. So if you want to help continue that, literally link in the description, link in the comments. If you don't have Spotify, no worries. If you do, just click it, play the song, and it would mean the world to me. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.